If the US were to raise taxes on billionaires to like 50, what's stopping them from simply moving to a country with lower taxes? It doesn't tax their stock wealth, which is the number we most commonly hear when hearing about their net worth. If you tax that, they will move their corporate offices and bail immediately to tax havens. Every country has the same question, and practically billionaires do not move that much away. In many countries, a 50 tax rate is the low upper class, so having it only for billionaires is like way nicer than in the rest of the world. I can't have this discussion until I'm sure people understand progressive tax rates. There are not a lot of countries with no taxes on rich people that are not third world, poor and lack infrastructure. If you like to own a house near a town with schools and a grocery store, you better pay your taxes. That 50 is pretty much pointless, since most billionaires have their income coming in from stocks and other sources. They'd have to live in the other country. It's intriguing to consider the economic seesaw that tax policy creates. On the one hand, high taxes can drive away innovation and capital, but on the other, without sufficient tax revenue, a nation can't maintain the infrastructure and services that help businesses thrive. It's a fine line between equitable taxation and pushing economic contributors out. Moreover, it's not just corporate taxes. Personal income taxes on the ultra-rich also play a significant role. Though potential tax evasion and offshore schemes complicate matters, the solution isn't to surrender to a race to the bottom. Perhaps the key is finding a balance that allows for competitive growth without undermining the social contract, a tax structure that scales with wealth, but doesn't penalize success to the point of stifling economic contribution. History has shown varying results, but the ultimate goal should be a symbiotic relationship between government and wealth creators for the betterment of the entire nation's socioeconomic fabric. The US is the only country where their citizens have to file a tax return even if they didn't live in the country and earned no income in the country. But also, billionaires likely have their wealth tied up in US assets. If Zuckerberg moved to Switzerland, all of his Meta stock is still held in the US, and if he sold, he'd have to pay taxes on it. Corporate taxes were 90 after World War II. It's funny how everyone seems to forget that. Taxes on what exactly? Income, assets, capital gains? Americans have to file taxes no matter what country you live in. Depending on how much you make abroad, you may or may not pay taxes, but have to file every year. Americans who live abroad have double tax filing to make, in the US and in the country they live in, and depending on how much you make, you will pay taxes in one or both countries. To get out of paying taxes in the US, you have to renounce your citizenship, but can pay a huge exit tax on top of the $2,000 fee to give up citizenship. I think one reason they make US citizens file and/or pay taxes abroad was because of rich people. Don't take my word for it, but in the end it has made things difficult for regular American living abroad. Most have become rich off the businesses they own here. We the people made them rich, and we have the best economy. Remember, only 70 years ago tax was at 60 or higher. USA taxes on citizenship, not location. If you live overseas, you still pay taxes as an American if your income is over 90 point PA. I forget what it is now. I mean, they do that now with their wealth. Not entirely, but through diversification. It's better for them to keep all their stolen booty in different currencies and markets so that if the winds blow against their favor one day, and a government either collapses along with its currency, or they are declared enemies of the state, see FTX assets seized by the Chinese government, their ridiculously vast wealth is insulated through segregation. The Cayman Islands and Hong Kong in particular are popular for this. Remember that taxes are based on income in the US, so if they strategically position their portfolios with companies moved to Ireland, then they aren't paying US taxes despite living in the US. The only way they will ever face justice is a multinational coalition approach to brutally deal with the multinational oligarch problem and their entire bloodlines, which they very much don't want to happen, which is why they have a keen interest in supporting and making money on any and all wars. The US has an exit tax even if you renounce citizenship. Two things. One, as others have mentioned, US citizens need to pay income taxes regardless of where they live in the world, subject to tax agreements. Two, quality of life. They can move to countries with astronomically lower tax rates right now, but they don't because they want to live in the USA to enjoy the quality of life being a billionaire gives them. Regardless of how low the tax in Somalia 10 flat rate, they can't enjoy life there as much as they can in the USA, paying far more in tax. So the reason why they want move is the same reason they don't move right now. The amount they pay in tax is irrelevant to them enjoying their life, but moving to another country will impact it. First, there is an exit tax. If you move to another country and try and give up your citizenship, there is a 50 tax on assets you have in the United States. The second reason is the United States has the lowest taxes in the world in billionaires and the best protections for wealth. Because it literally doesn't matter if they do. They can only make their money where people have money. So their income will still be tied to the high tax place if that's where they make their money. Like, if you made $1 billion selling fiddle widgets in California, it wouldn't do you any good to live in Washington no state income tax to dodge paying the taxes because you sold them in Cali and will pay the taxes there. And it would dumb to say, oh, okay, so I made $1 billion selling fiddle widgets in Cali, but I hate the taxes, so I'll move to Somalia and sell them there because no one can afford to buy the widgets there. The taxes in Cali enable the infrastructure and legal system to protect your ability to make that income possible. A low tax place just won't have it, and you likely won't have any success there.